Ashe, and grand rising to you all, my beautiful people. Yes, you, my highly enriched melanin people. You, the Earth's original and organic humans, also known as my fellow Africans. It is I, the Mystic Philosopher. And yes, it is evident that I'm still here with you on this side of reality. And welcome back to another episode of The Mystic P is Talking Again. Let's call this episode 3, looking back from whence I started it. In my last episode, if you will, I told you that we'll be answering the question, is stress natural or unnatural? And what is natural stress versus unnatural stress? First, what is natural and what is unnatural? Let's see if we can have a common understanding of agreement upon that, or at least I'll share my perspective. Well, from my perspective, natural is of our source and our mother nature. And unnatural is the opposite of nature. Actually, the flip side of nature, if you will. Unnatural can also be seen as both man-made, or mankind, and as mankind, humankind trying to manipulate and control our mother nature and her laws in their bid for power and control over others, or the power and control of others, etc. Now, according to one of the 7 Hermetic principles, as recorded in the book called The Kabbalion, for those of you who might be familiar with it, namely the principle of polarity. And I quote, everything is dual, everything has poles, everything has its pairs of opposites. Like and unlike are the same, opposites are identical in nature, but different in degree. Extremes meet. All truths are but half-truths, and all paradoxes may be reconciled, unquote. Something we'll be hopefully getting into this much deeper at another time, but you'll see the relevance of me quoting it here shortly. Now, as the Mystic Philosopher, my answer to this question, is stress natural or is it unnatural, is as follows. It depends on the circumstances that we are talking about, or the circumstances that we are experiencing, or the situation that we might find ourselves in, or the events or the happenings that we might be describing. Consequently, stress may be seen as unnatural, as well as stress can or may be seen as being unnatural. Stress can be or might be good, or it can be seen as being good, and stress can or might be seen as being bad. In other words, if or when all things are considered, you might discover that not all stress or stresses are good and not all stresses are bad. Or to say it another way, you might discover that not all the time stress is good and not all the time stress is bad. And above all, you may discover that everything that you can think of and every experience that you can have, including stress, the experience of stress, they all help to make up this thing that we call life. It or they are all part of this thing we call life. Therefore, you may also discover that stress is and stress are a necessary element or a necessary ingredient of life, without which there might be no such thing called life as we think we know it upon this, our planet and Mother Earth. We might also discover that we cannot get rid of stress. without getting rid of ourselves. For example, just think of all the things that you know, all the things that you know of that naturally involve stress. Stress, also known as pressure or tension. And remember, it does not matter what form of stress it is still stress. For example, it is the thing called gravity that exerts pressure on our bodies and keep us from flying off the earth and floating off into space. And by the same token, it is the same stress called gravity, also known as pressure or tension, that we have to resist momentarily, daily, in order to walk upright, in order to move and live. All this, you may agree, is natural and physical stress. We can, or we might even say that this is good and beneficial stress. However, if we carelessly or purposefully or accidentally allow ourselves to fall, it is the same stress, it is the same gravity that might mercilessly slam our heads to the ground, break our backs, or break some of the bones and possibly kill us. Or if you prefer, force is the same stress, the same force and tension or gravity that will force the life energy from our bodies. Unnatural stress, from my perspective, is stress, also known as tension or pressure, that is being used while attempting to manipulate, govern, and control nature and all that is of nature, aka all that is natural. Unnatural stress, from my perspective, is bound to have serious and devastating consequences upon both its victims and the manipulators, the abusers. In fact, it has been proven to have very serious and devastating consequences upon both its victims and abusers, its manipulators. For if or when we mess with Mother Nature and her laws, she will, in the fullness of time, turn around and mess with us. Or more correctly, she will turn around and discipline us. One example of unnatural stress, from my perspective, is the coronavirus called COVID-19. Four other quick and practical examples of unnatural stress that I can readily think of as well are the government, aka the police force, money, guns, and nuclear weapons. The fact is that stress is in every form. It is here to make us and to break us. And it is us that have to use our natural intelligence and learn how to manage it, how to manage stress. We have to use our natural intelligence in order that we can or may live a happy and fulfilled life. I think what we should and must strive for is to intelligently and practically manage stress, and not to try and eliminate stress. For to try and do so is to only bring about more stress, and sometimes more unbearable stress. So when next I, the Mystic Philosopher, talks again, I will identify some more stress and share some of my perspective on how we can or we may use our natural intelligence and practically handle or manage this thing called stress in order that we may live, and at the very least, live a relatively happy rest of our lives. In the meantime and between time, let me play a little something for you, especially for you old-timers like myself, to hopefully help you, at least for a moment, distract your mind from some potential stress or stresses that you might be experiencing, and also to help some of you start your day right, to start right. and possible to help relieve any possible unnatural stress that you will encounter today. And the song I will be doing for you is called Many Rivers to Cross by Jimmy Cliff. Said, many rivers to cross, and it's only my will. I messed up. Many rivers to cross, but I can't seem to find my way over. Wondering I am lost. La la la, la la la. White cliffs of Dover. I said many rivers to cross, and it's only my will keeps me alive. I've been licked, washed up for years. Da da da, da da da. And this loneliness just won't leave me alone. It's such a drag to be on your own. My woman leave me and she didn't say why. Well, I guess I have to cry. Oh, many rivers to cross, but I just begin to blind, praying for time. Yeah, been time I find myself, because I've stressed thinking of committing some crime. Yes, I have many rivers to cross, and it's merely my will keeps me alive. Yes, there are many rivers to cross, brethren. These are not my songs, and I haven't sung them in quite a long time. So, yeah, I'm trying to read the lyrics over there and thing. But anyhow, and I've tried to sing slow not to wake up anybody else in the house. So, in the meantime and between time, I just wish for you and ask that you live for today and love for tomorrow and have a bright and sunshiny day. It is I, the Mystic Philosopher. Ashe, 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 I say. Until next time when I, the Mystic Philosopher, talk again. Be good.